Onka varavertukku rumba sandosham rumba nagri. Oru nimisha ingalalan her pesi elka rumba sandosham. Okay, now I'll speak in English so that everybody will understand. And forgive me if I spend a moment or two developing a metaphor. And you will see how this metaphor comes around to include Juanita Nathan and to promote her as a school board member. I want to say that to me the school system here in Ontario is like a great banyan tree. The banyan tree has many roots and many branches. It stretches over the whole province. It's extremely important in our communities. It gives shade and support to everyone, and in particular to our children, who I see as birds resting in that banyan tree. The banyan tree supports thousands of children. And if we think of those children as birds, then many of the things that birds learn and do are also relevant when we think of our children, because birds importantly learn to fly. Now, flying is a physical skill, and we try to encourage all of our students to develop their physical skills. Flying involves balance, it involves understanding direction and where you are going, understanding geography, understanding climate and winds. And all of those things we also need to teach our children. And the banyan tree is like the nest in which these children rest, and from which we encourage them gradually to do experimental flying and to move out further and further, trusting their skills, trusting their strength, their self-confidence to enjoy the wider world. Okay, now you may say, why are you talking about birds and flying? Our children are not birds. Well, what I want to say is that we as humans do not have the skill to actually fly. But what we have is another skill, which is even more powerful than what birds have. It's a complementary skill that serves the same purpose and more. And that is the skill with language and the skill to tell stories through language. And with those skills, we share with our children what actual birds learn from flying. That is, we share with our children the wider world. And the advantage of the human skill with language is that we can take children where birds cannot go. We can take them under the ground, we can take them to this universe, we can take them anywhere in the world. And now that brings me to a project that I've been working on for 50 years and which Juanita Nathan has been supporting. And that is, I have collected a huge, very important epic from Tamil Nadu called The Legend of Ponnivala. And I've now translated and developed that legend as a very large series of animations and printed stories. And why this is important is that we're now starting to use that in schools in the Markham area with Juanita's great support. And I feel it's so important that we share stories like this with children in our schools to give them the sense of the wider world, of other cultures, of other places, of other times, because this is a medieval story. And it's especially important for children of South Asian origin because they can identify with the character and the culture in many cases, and that gives them an extra sense of support and self-confidence that what they bring to the school is also valued by their teachers and by the school. So I want to thank Juanita for her support and say that storytelling and storytelling about other places and other cultures is so, so important to sparking the imagination of our children, and not just supporting their physical skills, their skills in math and physics and so on, which are important, but we need to expand further than that and spark their imaginations and get them to creatively build out into a very worldwide space with their understanding and their experiences through story of how others live and what others experience. So Juanita, thank you, and I want to say, Vetri, Vetri, Juanita Nathan.